Today on the CTV News at 5, it's moving day for High River flood evacuees staying at the University of Lethbridge. Plus, why some of the world's brightest young minds are in Lethbridge for the summer. And action gets underway at the World Junior Little League Championships.
CTV News with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. The day has come for High River flood evacuees to leave Lethbridge. Most won't be able to go back to their homes for a while. As Jeanette Rocher reports, many are grateful for the time they've spent in Lethbridge.
It's moving day at the University of Lethbridge. Since July 1st, about 250 flood victims from High River called this campus home. But today, it's all about packing up, loading up, and moving on. For some, it's a feeling of relief.
Let's leave now.
It's been nice being here, but I'm really happy to go back home.
For others, it's bittersweet.
It's kind of mixed feelings, like feel happy and I feel sad sometimes.
I feel a little sad because it was such a good time in this university. We really appreciate and thanks University of Lethbridge for all of that, because those children wouldn't have vacation without you.
Renata Tews and her son Tristan will be reunited with the rest of her family in Calgary today. This is her 6th move since the June flood.
Yeah, I didn't plan vacation this way.
Like Renata, most won't be going back to their homes for a while. Some are headed to trailers, most of them to a hotel in Calgary before moving on to temporary housing. Many of these kids don't know where they'll start school in September. Tristan's school was damaged in the flood. But while staying here at the U of L, there were some highlights.
The university also provides summer camps, and they allowed High River kids to go for free.
Oh, it's been really amazing. There's lots of trails I go on, and the gym is free, so I like that.
I like it. I like the hills. There's a great view. I like the gym and the free food.
I'm probably going to study here when I'm an adult.
It's a great feeling, and I think Lethbridge really, as a whole, needs to feel that way. I mean, we really came together as a community to make this happen, and it was apparent to them, and I think that's what, felt so great is, losing, one community to such a tragedy and being welcomed by another with such open arms.
Jeanette Rocher, CTV News, Lethbridge.
Now that the flood victims have gone, the university will spend the next day or so cleaning up the dorms to make room for 300 visitors arriving for 2 events in Lethbridge over the weekend. After that, the rooms will be prepared for new and returning university students. A 43-year-old man is facing charges after 2 people were assaulted on the city's north side. The 2 men and a woman were walking along Stafford Drive North when they got into an argument. Police say that's when the 43-year-old sprayed the others with dog repellent. Faris Salim Kadora of Kelowna, BC is charged with assault, possession of an offensive and prohibited weapon, as well as breaching probation. He is scheduled to appear in court September the 18th. Meanwhile, a Medicine Hat man has been charged with arson after 2 vehicles, a backhoe and a garbage can, were set on fire. The fires happened last week in the Medicine Hat community of Riverside. The damage totaled $90,000. 31-year-old Andrew Nelson of Medicine Hat is charged with 3 counts of arson and 1 count of mischief under $5,000. He will be back on court August the 8th. Okay, Dory. Part of the long weekend, you've told me, is going to be mostly sunny.
Yes, the cup is definitely half full, as opposed to what we talked about yesterday when it looked like the whole weekend was going to be damp. Now it looks like as we get into Sunday and Monday, the systems start to weaken, start to pull away. Yes, there is still a chance of a shower, but it looks like the bulk of both days have a really good chance of being a sun and cloud mix for a big portion of time. So that's good news, and I'll tell you all the other good news coming up in a couple of minutes.
Thank you, Dory. The AUPE has filed a grievance over layoffs at the University of Lethbridge. Over 500 members of the Alberta Union of Provincial Employees met at the university with Union President Guy Smith this afternoon. In March, the province slashed post-secondary funding by 7.3%. Now, to balance the books, the university is technically laying off employees for 11 days, which will save the school about $700,000. The union says the layoffs are illegal and they are taking legal action. Another construction project is underway on the city's west side. The Westgate Centre is a 6-acre parcel of land just off University Drive and Walsh Drive. It will include about 55,000 square feet of retail space. About 80% of that space has already been leased. Some of the stores include a bulk barn, Dollarama, Mr. Lube, Anytime Fitness, and First Choice Savings. They're expected to open early next year. Protest continues over a controversial construction project, but this time the protest is by an orchestra. Some local musicians protested the Jumbo Glacier Ski Resort in southeastern BC through song. The orchestra of 50 musicians climbed up Farnham Glacier and played an original song called Requiem for a Glacier. They played the song in protest of the proposed $450 million resort and also to bring attention to the receding glacier. The song featured a Latin translation of the government's press release that said the $450 million resort could be built. Environmentalists are worried the resort could further damage the glacier and eventually it'll recede into nothing. Some of the world's brightest young minds are in Lethbridge trying to solve some of our country's toughest research problems. One problem, how the body perceives the hands. A few experiments have been set up for volunteers to try and gather some valuable research. Keaton Gerberbach explains.
Please stretch your hand as much as you can, but in a comfortable way.
A new type of research is taking place at the University of Lethbridge. Young researchers were brought in from around the world to help solve some challenging problems. Morel Rodriguez is one of those researchers. She's from Mexico City and is researching how the mind perceives the hands. She says this type of research will have a lot of useful applications once the data is collected.
First, I use the OptoTrack. I measure 10 landmarks in the hand 50 times. So it would be the base and the tip of the hand. You have to guess where these points are. And then you will do like a task with big balls, grasping big balls. And then I measure the hand again and see how was the perception change.
Volunteers are asked to find certain points on their hands. They're then moved to another station to put balls in a specific order. The volunteer then returns to measure the same hand again to see if any perception of the hand is changed. Research leader Claudia Gonzalez says there are a few things they are hoping to understand by doing these types of exercises.
We're interested in understanding the basic processes, the basic mechanisms of how we perceive our hands, trying to understand also if the perception of our body, for example, is accurate or not. So we know that within 15 minutes we can change the perception of our body. So if that's the case, then I can see lots of possible applications for therapies.
Other students from India, China, and Brazil were brought in by MITAC's Global Link for the 12-week research program to attract young minds to this country to conduct their research. Morel says she has enjoyed her time here in Lethbridge so far and is hoping to return to continue her studies at the university in neuroscience.
So I think it's great to have people from all over the world having research in the same place as a great country like Canada is.
Once all the data is collected, the findings will be then published in scientific works. There, other scientists can use these findings to develop new technologies that may lead into new breakthroughs for this field. Keaton Gerberbach, CTV News, Lethbridge.
Other types of research being conducted at the university include how sleep plays a role in memory consolidation and the evolution of high-latitude birds. A new playground is being built in Coaldale with the help of the community. The Kinsman Club of Coaldale is hard at work putting together a new playground in the Cottonwood Estate area. Volunteers are building the structures, but the group is still in need of more help. Organizers say the playground is something that's been needed for a while. They hope it'll encourage families to get out and stay active.
Whenever people are looking to relocate to a small community like Coaldale, they start to look at the infrastructure. So they're looking at the schools and what there is for recreation. And playgrounds are a big thing now, and especially in this development here with all the green space. It was a natural fit to put in a playground this size for this growing community.
The construction phase will last until this Saturday. If you'd like to volunteer, you can contact Jack at 403-345-5820. The Canadian Blood Services say that they need to fill hundreds of appointments to keep up with demand. In Lethbridge, there are over 800 spots available for the month of August. The blood signal has been sent out and will continue until after Labor Day. That means added clinics and extended hours in some locations. The summer months are always a challenge for Canada's blood supply, but last month's flooding in southern Alberta added to the problem.
The need this summer is incredibly high compared to other summers that we've had. And that's because of a combination of weather that we've had here in southern Alberta. We've had to close the clinic here in Lethbridge and in Calgary for a number of days. So that's why the need seems a little higher than past summers that we've had.
Now, the Lethbridge Clinic is specifically looking for donors for August the 16th and 17th because they have over 80 appointments to fill on those 2 days alone. If you can, you're urged to make an appointment by calling 1-888-2DONATE, or you can go online and blood.ca. If you're tapping away on your smartphone while you're watching us right now, chances are you're not alone. Surprise. A new study by Google says Canadians are becoming more addicted to their mobile devices. The report says about 8 in 10 Canadians who own a smartphone don't leave home without it. Google also found more than half of adults have one now. That's up from only 1/3 last year. More than 30% of Canadians surveyed said they would rather give up watching TV than hand over their iPhones. Time now for a look at the day's markets. Coming up after the break, Dory's got your long weekend forecast.